Hi there! If you've never been here before, welcome. This is a little bit of a different video. So today, I am going to be talking about self-catheterization. I have something called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome has commonly been thought to be a disorder with your collagen, but it's turning out that there's a lot more going on than just that. But in any case, EDS, or Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, I'll be calling it EDS, basically, it affects every part of your body, or it can. There are 13 subtypes. So the most common is called Hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Most likely that's what I have. Getting the exact diagnosis has been difficult, let me tell you what. If this video is a little disjointed, by the way, I apologize. Very spontaneous. I was going to make it sooner, but I didn't. So anyways, I found out that my bladder doesn't fully empty. Now, the thing is, if your bladder is emptying too much, then there's more they can do, like with medication or, incontinence supplies or whatever. However, when your bladder doesn't fully empty itself, that can happen with paralyzation, semi-paralyzation, sometimes it's not working correctly, but you're basically going to need to empty your bladder if this is what's happening, because otherwise your bladder will back up because it's connected to your kidneys, and the kidneys are what filters everything into your bladder, right? So your bladder will back up all that urine into your kidneys, and you can end up on dialysis. So this is why it's important to follow through with self-catheterization. I've been told to do it 4 times a day. Currently I'm at 2 times a day. Yes, it's been uncomfortable, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Still not fun. But it is what it is. I've been keeping everything in this little bag. But I had to pick up more supplies today because I was running low, and the supply company, they didn't call me until today. So I've been waiting all week for them to call. They finally called, and I'm going to have to wait for an order. The thing about the call that's interesting, though, is if I missed the phone call, then I'd have to call them back so that they could send the shipment. Otherwise, I won't get my supplies, and then I got to go to my doctor. So they do keep it kind of complicated, unfortunately. But I was going to kind of go through some of these. I didn't even really see what they sent me. Basically, what I've been doing, I put them in here. I've been using these. I need to get some more, but you can also just use soap and water. But these are Castile soap towelettes, and I've been using those because what you do, we're going to go into some detail here because this is important for people. Okay, so what you do is you have to, wipe front to back, at least with, whichever parts you got, but you got to clean the area. And then there are different types of catheters. Now, see, I haven't used any of these ones before. These ones, they come with lubricant. Okay? Now, the rest of these look kind of, I don't have the fancy ones that I liked that looked kind of cool, but anyways, I used all those up. But anyways, we've got these. Basically, these look kind of like tampons or something. Anyways, I figured I'd show them to you while I was putting them in here. So, what you end up doing is you clean the area, and then we can see here, there's the little catheter thing. So these ones are pre-lubricated, these ones are not. So these ones, though, basically, so you can see here, it's the same principle regardless. It's got this little hole here, and it's got a couple of other ones. And so what you got to do is you got to really breathe. Breathing is important. And then you kind of just have to find out where your urethra is, which can be a little tricky. Apparently, I have a prominent urethra. Who knew that was a thing even? Woo! I didn't know that was a thing. I was hoping I was going to be a natural at it, but I didn't expect it to be that much of a natural. Okay, sorry. It's not really very fun at all. But anyways, it is what it is. It's not the worst. I've had worse medical stuff to do. But yeah, so what you do is actually once you put that in there, you have to let the bladder drain. And then after that point, then while you're pulling it out, if it continues to drain, you have to stop every time it continues to drain. Because when the bladder gets too full, the nurse told me, it kind of collapses. Parts of it collapse on itself. So, you end up with these little pockets that actually trap urine. I didn't know this. No one told me about this, and I'm a medical nerd. I'm a nerd, and I didn't know this. I'm excited to know new things. And I thought y'all might want to know some stuff. So, anyways, it's quite interesting because then you've got to like let those different parts of your bladder empty, and then pretty much then you just got to kind of pull it out. Spasms sometimes happen. I am hoping they will be less soon, but they do happen sometimes, and sometimes it does get a little painful here and there. It's supposed to, one guy said on this one Facebook group that I joined, he's like, yeah, it's sucky, but it gets less sucky. If that makes sense. That's probably the best way to put this all. So, let's see, try and figure out putting these ones in here, and hope that they will fit. But I also have some other ones in here that I should show you, that they sent along, just in case, and because these ones have they're soft, in case my urethra gets sore. They're actually squishy, and you can see that little hole on there a little easier. So, kind of interesting. These ones, they call them Red Robins. I think it's just because they're red and it's Robinson model, so they call them Red Robins, I guess. It's kind of scary looking, but they bend up, and it's not as scary as it seems. These ones scared me when I first saw them, though. They scared me a little bit, like, just because they look scary to me. But it's actually not too terrible. And I'd rather do this than end up on dialysis. This was something that I was not informed about, that I was not knowledgeable about when I found out that I had EDS. I was not aware of how much EDS could actually impact. Sorry, the light is really bright. But I wasn't aware of how much EDS could actually affect your bladder. I was aware of the gastric problems with like digestive system, my intestines, my stomach. Fully aware that I'm having problems with stuff there, and that's a whole mess anyways. But it's part of why I cannot hold weight on my body to save my life. But what I was not aware of was the fact that intermittent self-catheterization, or ISC, is super common for EDS. No one told me, and I wish someone had, so I could have been more psychologically prepared, if that makes sense. Because as it is, it's fine. It's just that now this is I'm like, this is my life. This is my life now. So that was the biggest thing. I had a big meltdown. I'll be transparent. I had a big meltdown about this when I was figuring out that this was gonna have to be. I was telling my friend, I'm like, I don't want everything to change, you know? And I know I'm autistic and that doesn't help, but yeah, it was definitely one of those things. I just don't want everything to, it's just a change in my way of life, a change in my habits, something I have to do every day, and I'm bad at doing stuff that I have to do every day. It's really hard. It's really hard. Taking medication every day has been a struggle. Even my medical marijuana and everything, that's been a struggle sometimes to be able to make sure I do when I'm supposed to. Like, should have done that when I came home, but I didn't. Anyways, that's a good example, though, of, like, it's a struggle because I don't want everything to have to change, and I don't like having to figure out how to fit this into my day. But I'm doing it, and I'm figuring it out, and, you know, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it still sucks. I'm just, like, honest about it, you know what I mean? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not fun. It's not a good time. And, you know, I'll be, like, real honest. Like, my urethra, it's been hurting today. I've been sore. It's not been great. But I know that it's, there's also just a learning curve. And, regardless, you do what you got to do. Part of being disabled sometimes. Part of being a human, you know? Even not being disabled, just being a human. We all got to do stuff that we don't want to do sometimes. But it's kind of part of life. And it turns out that now this is kind of part of my life. And, yeah, not something I was expecting. But there we go. Anyways, I hope that this has been informative in some kind of a way. If it has been, let me know. And, wait, as I go toppling my phone over. Very spontaneous video, can you tell? But anyways, I'm gonna go relax now. I just really wanted to get this done before I forgot and before I busted through these ones, because they're gonna be sending me mostly in the supply. I think they're gonna send me ones more like this, mostly, but they're gonna also send some of these other little travel ones too. So I'll get more travel-sized ones, which are helpful because I'm going to be having to do this 4 times a day. Right now, it's only in the morning and at bedtime. So that's been okay, but today, tomorrow, soon I have to, like, switch it up to 3 times a day and then 4 times a day pretty quick. So, anyways, it is what it is, and that's part of life, and I wanted to share with you some of the real parts of my life, because my life is not just balloons. As much as I love balloons, it's not just balloons. As much as I love art, as much as I love all kinds of other things, at the end of the day, I am still a human being that is struggling with physical and mental disabilities, and I don't like hiding that from people. I think that the stigma is a big part of why a lot of us don't talk about stuff, and why a lot of this stuff sounds weird and scary to people, because we don't talk about things. And I think that it would help people more if we talk about stuff, because this has not been as scary as I thought it was going to be, even though it was a little different. Yeah, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. I'm grateful that I have access to this kind of treatment. I'm grateful that I have insurance here in Oregon, where I live. It is public health care, and I'm grateful for that, so that my insurance can cover my supplies, because otherwise I could not afford it. I don't know what I would do. So it's one of those things. It sucks to have to do it, but I'm so grateful that I have the privilege of being able to have access to the supplies that I need. And I'm also grateful because I was thinking about this on my way back from my doctor's appointment today. I've seen my psychiatrist. But I was thinking about it, and I'm like, I'm really grateful to not be homeless anymore, because when I was homeless, I would not have been wanting to try and figure out how to find places to self-catheterize in a sterile environment of any kind, a comfortable environment, anything, It just, it sounds terrible. It sounds like no fun. If you could even do it, it just, Anyways, things to be grateful for. So, grateful for the access to the healthcare, and I'm grateful for having somewhere to live right now. In the middle of all of this. So, I'm warm. Cool bandana. I was so good. I got so sick on the way back. I get so dizzy, Anyways, and I'm still skating. Just roll along, walk along, get along, move along. But I'm falling apart pretty quickly, so yeah, maybe I'm not the best example of how to deal with your disability necessarily, but anyways, maybe go for it, whatever. Live your life. And, treat people with kindness. You never really know what people are going through. And, also, keep this conversation going. I want more people talking about this stuff. Because health is a complicated thing. And people, I think sometimes, a lot of times, feel very isolated in these circumstances. And I'll tell you, when I joined some Facebook groups talking about ISC, the self-catheterization, it helped, because I didn't feel so alone, and I felt like there were people that understood, and that when I asked questions, that when I talked about stuff, it wasn't weird, it was just okay, it was just normal. It's just okay. And that's the thing I want people to take away from this, I guess. It's not anymore, it's not abnormal, it's normal, and it's very human to be disabled. And, I feel like because a lot of disabled people end up at home a lot, we end up feeling very isolated and alone, and we also feel like, I think a lot of times, like, we're invisible, and, that isn't cool. So, if anything, I hope this video has helped someone, and, yeah, be back with more balloons, and I'll talk more about more stuff later if you want. But let me know if you want to hear more stuff about my health and what's going on, and if you want me to share more stuff like this. I'm probably gonna anyway, but I'd like to know. I'm probably gonna anyway, but let me know what you think. Hope it's been informative. Bye.